Hey guys, just a couple of things before we get started today. First of all, I've had this review ready for a couple of weeks now, but as you'll see, I had no idea where you could get this particular device until now. Thanks to Jason, our American pilot who works over in Shenzhen, asked him to trace it down. He did. He got it. He's branded it the Spovan Blade, and you're about to see an experimental watch that has actually turned into a real product. He's got a spec sheet up on it now, but I'm not going to go into it because the video is going to say it all. It's really an amazing device. At the very end, you get to meet Jason. He's done his own unboxing, and we're going to present that to you because he's showing what the full product looks like. I only had the watch, and I got that through kind of a crazy way as a sample experimental device. But he's got the full package deal, and he'll do the unboxing for us. The volume is a little low on him, so it's not going to be screaming like I am. So you'll have to turn your volume up when we get there. But thanks, Jason. And he's got my other unit, the one that we're going to really test on its way out here. This is the preliminary test with the sample unit, and it's amazing. Okay, here we go. Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com. Today's review is going to be completely different than anything you've seen because what I have here is experimental. It's an e-watch is actually how it's identified in its experimental mode, and it's not yet fully available, but it represents everything I've seen in this new health craze inside sports fitness watches. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the amazing H-Band app and H-Band 2, which have been going through significant upgrades, so much so that they completely redefine the way tethering apps work with these kind of biometric devices. Let's look at this first. As an experimental watch, it's typical of a fitness band, basically. You can pull off, and we will, the bands on here, and there's a USB charger you'll see in there. But it's got a few real amazing twists that I expect us to see all through 2020. First of all, when you bring it up here, you get the time screen, and that's it. No longer accidentally going into something and then having to go all the way through just to get back to the time. Because they've added a press unlock screen. So when you tap it and you get to that point, you just hold it, you get what looks like a fingerprint scanning, and now the whole thing is unlocked. So you have a few different watch faces. You have your traditional step count, calories burned, and distance traveled, and that's the basic fitness stuff. You have heart rate in here. You have blood pressure as well. You have your last night's sleep information. You have blood oxygen, and boy, I'm going to talk about that. Then you have ECG. Press this and you can begin accumulating an ECG reading. You can set up and add to this through the app a countdown timer or a stopwatch. And then you get to PTT. Wow. Wow. Wait till you see that one. You have a press to enter one event. You can do a timed run or walk type of an event, but that's all in terms of fitness. It's not automatically going to track 20 different workouts. This is not a glorified fitness band. It's purely for health. So you saw all the functions in there, and instead of wasting time going through and showing you that now, I'll show you all that later. I really want to jump over, while I have your limited attention, to the apps. This is the H-Band app, and when it's opened and it's not connected, you've got categories: your sports, heart rate, overall blood pressure, blood oxygen, ECG, sleep, and heart rate variability, and you can rearrange all of those things, okay? However, if I move you from H-Band to H-Band 2, which is what's actually tethered, and they seem to be pretty close to identical apps, so when you get whatever you get that works with H-Band, try either one of these apps for tethering and see which one you like. Look at this whole thing filled out with data. This is today with a little bit of slap over from yesterday, like in the last night's sleep report. And I'm going to walk it through so you really see what we're doing here. I've got an overall step count and hours slept here at the top, and then the different sections. When you go into sport, here's today's walking, basically, pedometer readings every half hour accumulated in a bar graph, right? And it happens like that every day, and you can go into calendar and go back. Like I can go to yesterday, which was a really fun day. Had a lot of activity yesterday. Got some really good step counts throughout the day. Heart rate, continuous, plotting on the graph. Go in here, and of course you get your graph up here. Go back to yesterday, and you can see here I had a little bleep, which may have been an anomaly, but it's tracking all of that. Here was the time when I had the band off, so it's not taking erroneous readings. It's just leaving them blank. When I come back over to today, here we go. Well, where am I? Oh, well, anyway, I'll come back automatically. You have the heart rate. You also have continuous, in a sense, blood pressure. It's going to be taking it in intervals at every 5 minutes. Your systolic, diastolic readings throughout the day, starting at midnight, way down here, way down here. I mean, look at all of this. And they appear to be relatively reasonable. And I'll, again, make the disclaimer that you can't trust any of the data on any of these devices in any of the categories until you actually have a chance to check it on your own to see how well it lines up with your particular situation. Now we get to blood oxygen. You ready, gang? Blood oxygen uses different diodes in here. Let me just show you that. I'm going to have to unlock it again. And I'm going to move you over here to heart rate. And as soon as you're in heart rate or blood pressure, it's going to be using green diodes. But when you get into blood oxygen, it invokes dual red diodes. And the red diodes give you way more accurate data. And this is a chart showing my blood oxygen. And you see little yellow parts in there? As I dive deeper into here, it's going to be also looking at my apnea, of which, good for me and good for you, I had an incident. I've got to tell you about that. Sleep apnea. I had, it looks like 5 different occurrences throughout the night. Now, I haven't had, even though there's a couple of other bands that do this, I haven't really had them capture anything before. This is really amazing because I'm actually getting some apnea data to work with. The reason I know it's really happening is up here, right at the time it cut off at 7. So it runs from midnight to 7. It's only doing it during the night. Just before that, you see how it dipped way down my blood oxygen below 94, like 93? I got an alarm on this thing. It started vibrating. I looked at it. The blood oxygen icon was on there flashing red, and I had been sitting at the computer answering your guys' comments, and it turns out I was so into what I was writing to somebody that I was holding my breath. And at the time it vibrated, I gasped, realizing that I'd been holding my breath, and it worked. It actually worked. The reason I mention holding your breath is that's another aspect of this on being able to work with determining your lung capacity. Yeah, let's go through this. This is an OSAHS. I've got new acronyms and I don't know what they mean yet, but I got that. It's an analytic result that shows you from normal to severe. And folks, right now, last night, today, it's severe for me. I'm in list style. I can also go in graph, which I'll show you after we go through the list. Apnea frequency, 5 of them out of a total of 20, where 7 is kind of a borderline value that throws you out of normal. So even though I did have a few, that's still considered normal. Blood oxygen concentration is way up there, 97, the reference value, 95 to 99, and it says normal. And here's respiratory rate. Now, it's able to determine my resting respiratory rate through this blood oxygen measurement, and it's coming in at 16. Sounds pretty cool, huh? My ring does that too. If you watch the review I've done on the Aura ring, you'll see that while I'm sleeping, I also get a respiratory rate computation from my blood running underneath my ring while I'm asleep. Hypoxia time, the reference value is under 20 times per minute, okay, and I'm at 9. Cardiac load, range of sleeping activity, references to be under 20, silent, okay, and it's got a scale of 0 to 50, and I came in at 10. Now, you see all the question marks here? Those are things you can do to read about what all these things are and what the treatments are. So, in a sense, it's diagnosing and offering some treatments which is not authorized unless you're a doctor. So, again, I'm going to put a caveat out there that these could be for all kinds of different reasons. So just use this stuff for guidance as opposed to actually self-diagnosing and taking your medical stuff into your own hands. Use it in concert with your medical professional, and I think you'll be doing better. You can see I'm flashing on the screen what each of these things are, so you have, all right, I'll leave it there. You can freeze frame it, you know, and read it if you need to, if I'm moving too fast. And I'm not even looking at them because I don't want to get into any of this stuff. Excuse me, because I'm not really medically trained to do any of that. I forget, was that respiratory rate? It looks like it was, right? Yeah, okay. And I'm backing up on these blood oxygen concentration. What the terminology is, typical symptoms if it is something that you're experiencing. So that's a way to kind of check the data. Are you feeling these kind of things as well as seeing things come up here? And apnea is the complete cessation of airflow. That's like holding your breath, right? And then there's a whole bunch of other ideas that they give you for how to improve that situation. So just in the blood oxygen area alone, here you can see your overall data over time, not just individual moments, but the deep, deep details. Most of the time it being consistent. See, like my respiratory rate, I didn't have a wild dream and had really high breathing, although that's possible. Hypoxia time, yeah, all kinds of stuff. And look at that, you can actually zero in on a specific area and get information of the actual value at those points. Okay, and again, you can change days. Here's yesterday, and I really don't have anything. This is just 0 because it had touch there. I don't have anything that day because I didn't actually sleep with it until last night to get the data that we have here. That's in blood oxygen. You ready to go further? ECG, electrocardiogram. Remember, we have a touch plate here and 2 plates on the back. And so when you wear this on your left arm and you touch it with your right arm, or vice versa, you are creating a circuit through your heart. The chart will be upside down if you wear it on your right arm. So advice is to wear it on your left arm and touch the plate with your right finger to get the right kind of a chart, which you're about to see here. Here is an app Ecg Test, and that was initiated from the app by hitting start here. You can also initiate it by getting into where it said ECG and beginning the thing there. It'll record it on the watch and transfer it over here, and then it'll be a watch-made ECG. Either way, you're still touching the same electrodes. It's just a matter of who's collecting the data for you. Start testing will start it here. When you've got a record, you can go into here now. And there's so many ways you can look at this. It's telling you the frequency and walking speed and gain, all the kind of things that goes with an ECG report. You can hit the play button and you'll see it'll begin tracking the heart process as I'm, was holding the band and watching it live on here. I have this on my arm, hold it, and if I wiggle it, it'll make a change in the bumps on here, so you know it's an accurate portrayal. It's delayed about 5 seconds from what you see on here to what's happening on there. But that's not so much critical as after the fact being able to read the ECG report. It gives you a heart rate zone. Please stop playback. Okay, we'll have to do that. Stop. There, okay. And you can get the whole thing larger. I can't really scroll it, but I can play it again if I want to, or reduce it. So when it's reduced, now we can get into these different things. And it gives you a medical explanation of what is meant by this particular analysis, and that's the range, and it's saying that it's normal from there. Your QT interval, okay, it's a duration of, and so forth and so on, and that's the range, and I'm on the high end, but not over 450, so it's still normal. And HRV stands for heart rate variability, and it's coming in at 16, and the reference range is 0 to 230. And there's a lot of stuff out there about HRV and your overall stress level, how relaxed you are, those kind of things. So they give you an analytic result, says sinus rhythm. The ECG shows no abnormalities on this particular reading. However, yesterday I had a couple of them in here, and you'll notice quickly, you can see the heart rate, the QT and the HRV stuff, and I think they were all okay too. So that's the app ECG stuff. Now you see down here there's this other thing coming in called Ptt Abnormal Data. This is, okay, this is a whole new topic. This is the other thing that I mentioned that this band does that I have never seen before, and now we got to come back to the band and show you that I could actually get in here and remove the bands. They're a little tight. This is how you plug it in and charge it into your USB connector. This one's good and tight, but I can still whip it off, and now, that's what happens when you hold the button there. Now I've got this little thing as a module, right? Now imagine plunking this module into a little carrier like that that holds it, and has some plates that go over the electrodes here that you could then, using silicone attachment points, stick it on your chest. It's called an ECG chest sticker that you drop the band in, attach it, and then you run this thing called the PTT, which is going to set it up for you to do an automatic continuous monitoring of your ECG at night. Wow. Here's how that works. And I've tried this. I don't have the connector thing yet. This is an experimental device, and they're still working out the kinks on all of that. But the circuitry is all built into here and into here. That's why it's showing up here in the H-band app, H-band and H-band 2. Awesome app. I'm really proud of where these guys are going. When you get this going, I'm just going to tell you so you know right now, you can get this all, you know, moist and then slap it onto your chest, right? Hold it on your chest. And I guess use right hand or left hand. I don't know. I'd say the left hand because it's got to go through your heart. Anyway, you hold it on your chest and you get into the mode. Let me show you when you get into the mode. Press and unlock and get over there, because you got to see this. When I am at this mode here, you say press and enter, and it's going to blip and go off. And it says press to exit, but it's black. And now, if this is on my chest, and I hold this, it's going to be producing an interesting chart. I'm coming back here. You see this thing flashing now on here? I'm going to touch that, and this isn't quite my chest. I don't know if I can get anything on this or not. I'm going to try. Here we go. It said lead failure there, so I'm going to press it, and it should reacquire it. Anyway, what happens is with the two electrodes, it's really, really sensitive, and the lines just go completely off the screen. But when you hold the electrode on the front down, and you hold it for about 60 seconds, you see it's starting to normalize. Okay, it's saying abnormalities in. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of funky right now because I'm not really set up properly. But after about 60 seconds of holding it, you're supposed to be able to let your finger go, and it's going to still use those two electrodes calibrated now somehow by touching it against your chest close to your heart to give you your ECG chart. You can see why this is experimental. It's something that's coming. I don't expect it really out for a while, but when it's out, and you get yourself these little chest connector things. And I imagine right now it's silicone, so unless you guys are doing what he's doing and got a nice bare chest, it might be a little challenging to stick that on a hairy chest. But they could also weave a strap around it like your typical heart rate straps are. But this is 2-electrode ECG. Is that possible? We always thought you needed 3. Yes, it is. And in the show notes, you'll see a link to an article that talks about getting the basics of a 12-pin ECG from one single lead, in this case, ground and one lead slapped onto your chest. So to get out of here, you just press and it actually counts down 5 seconds to make sure you're not accidentally doing it while you're asleep, and take it out of that mode, and then you're back out of it. Again, press and enter on the fitness section. Only starts one event. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's going to give you your heart rate, time, estimated calories burned against a step count. So very light on exercise. This is really not meant for that, unless you want to do a treadmill thing or a little bit of a workout, see what your heart rate is, and work with it from there. You're not going to be doing this as a typical Fitbit kind of a device, but you are able to do some pretty amazing stuff here. When you get the chart going, you see you can actually start recording, and you can record a section of it and then stop recording and save that, and do whatever you want to do with that. During that process, it's going to give you your heart rate, QT interval, and heart rate variability as well. So all of that stuff is happening in here down in the ECG section. But wait, he says, we're not done yet. There's more. Sleep. Okay, here is the sleep analysis in very fine detail. You've got 4 different categories here, including deep and light sleep and REM state, as well as awake time. You've got your overall sleep quality estimate for just a quick look and see, or you can go through and see your sleep duration, whether you had a percentage of insomnia, how much of the time you were in REM, waking up time. I woke up 6% of the time throughout the night, which is kind of high, and had quite a bit of water before I went to bed. No doubt that's true. How much percentage of light sleep and deep sleep here? Again, it says awake times, 3 of them, and again, you get explanations of what that means. References 0 to 1. You shouldn't get up any more than 1 time. Falling asleep. If you go beyond a half hour, I guess that starts kicking in for insomnia time. Here it's about 7 minutes. And sleep efficiency, range of 0 to 4 minutes, is the time between sleep interruption and being able to go back to sleep. Too long a time indicates the length of deep sleep, so you have lower sleep quality overall. So all of these pieces are in here. Every one of these things has a little information thing on it that you can click. Here's what it says about insomnia, explanation for that. And the reason I am tapping these and letting you see it is when you download the app, which is for free, you're not going to be able to see any of these. Oh, sorry, there I go again. Any of these categories or any of these information things unless you actually acquire some data. And in order to do that, you've got to have a device, and you have to have it tethered, and you have to run it all night to be able to get these categories. So it's a very dynamic app. When you first get it, you think there's nothing to it until you tether it to a device that takes advantage of everything it has to offer. And this is all the sleep time, and you can find the exact time frame that you were in these different things. Like I woke up around 1 a.m. to 1:16. And then again 3 a.m. and again at about 4:34 in the morning, which probably matches up to bathroom breaks. You've got before and after yesterday and tomorrow. We won't have tomorrow until tomorrow. Anyway, that's sleep, heart rate, ECG and blood oxygen, and then another huge category is heart rate variability. This is where we have both your active heart rate variability over time displayed on a graph from 0 to 210 in this case, where everything is down relatively low, and a heart health index predicted from here in the normal zone up at 71, with it can drop down into abnormal down below 40. And then the amazing Lorenz scatter diagram. And we've talked about that in other videos that produce these. This is a reading of heart rate variability minus the previous heart rate variability plotted on a graph. And I don't know how they came up with that, but it is a predictor of heart health. And so you have these patterns that represent what it looks like. So you look at this and see which does it match. Is it closer to that or that? Well, obviously it comes more to a point on that end than that end, so it's more like a comet. It's kind of skinny. It's sort of like a shuttle, but it kind of, you know, and you just play with this, I guess. What each of these mean, there's articles on that on the web. Go to scholar.google.com and look up Lorenz scatter diagram and read up on it if you want to, because all that's there. But if that's too complicated, you just got these things you can look at. This is the report on its analysis of that scatter diagram. It says my heart rate change was 5 stars. 5 is better than 1. Sudden change of heart rate, neural state, and heart rhythm change. And I can't actually go in and give you more information on any of them, but these do change over time. This report in this app, H-band, I've seen on some of the other devices we've reviewed that didn't have quite all the capabilities that this one does, but it does produce the scatter diagram. I think V19 was one of them. Anyway, that's out there, and there's going to be more, obviously, because this stuff is coming along, and this represents the next generation, which isn't even on the market yet. So you got HRV. This is simply allows you to rearrange the order to fit whatever you'd like to have in whatever order you want. And when you go over here, you get into where you set up your own personal parameters. This is the watch, the experimental watch. And when you get into here, you see you can turn on and off all these things, including the heart rate alert. You turn your wrist to detection and so forth. You can put in your own personal blood pressure range. If it's not 120/80 and you know what your true blood pressure is from your doctor or a cuff measurement, you can tune that in, and then the blood pressure readings will be more closely aligned with what you truly are normally, because you're going to be matching that. When you do the blood pressure using these devices, it's actually giving you more of a difference or a differential between your regular heart rate and what it's reading. And so it's using a baseline. And so if you can put in your own baseline, you'll actually have better results. But if you don't know that, you can turn it off. You can change the screen time. These are the switch settings to turn on all these things like automatic heart rate and blood pressure. I wish I had one I could turn off the birds when I'm recording, but there's no switch for that, so you get the sound of springtime mating outside. Sorry. And you've got a brightness adjustment. I keep it cranked all the way up. It was pretty bright last night in bed, but if I'm on here and I've got it set for a 30-second timeout, and this works on all of them like this. If I turn it way down, you see it'll change. It'll go back up again. I can have it in automatic, and it has a sensor in here that will adjust the brightness to match the current lighting situation. I just run it full bright, and I still have plenty of battery. And so forth. Clear data, firmware update, disconnect the whole thing. If you set up an account when you register the H-band app, all of the data that you're putting in here, including all these ECG reports and blood pressure continuous readings and whatnot, will be archived in their cloud and available to you when you go and check previous days. So like when I go back to yesterday, I've got all that stuff. And if I logged out of here and logged into H-band using the same account, I'd see all that stuff as well. So they're doing a real good job of keeping both H-band and H-band 2 up to date. Okay, I know, I forgot a couple of things, so let's look at them. The OSHASH, whatever the heck that was, I'm going to hit the question mark, and it talks about a clinical syndrome that it's referring to, and these are the typical symptoms you would see, and manifestations at night. And treatment. Again, I want to cover these on the video because unless you get this particular device and take measurements that activate this area, you're not going to be able to get access and read this stuff. This app is adjustable to the particular device you've got. We looked at all of these things. Hypoxia and arousal. Not what you think, guys. This is about oh, you're blushing. This is about monitoring when you get down too low in your I'm blushing. Your blood oxygen. You can turn this on. It's an alarm. That's what it is. It will alarm you. It's hypoxia and alarm. And with the alarm, you'll get that notifications I was telling you about in the thing that I experienced. That was me typing to holding my breath, that experience. Okay, we've got some questions and answers just to scroll through. Freeze frame again if you need to, and it's talking a little bit about what this is. So you may or may not have this or be interested in this. It might be something that's affecting someone in your family, but it's some Q&A about apnea, basically. And once again, I've tested a few different bands that have ability to assess whether you have sleep apnea that run while you're asleep. And this is the first one that's actually given me some results in just the first night that I've used it. So that's pretty cool. Now, special treat for you. Special treat for you. The More button. I hadn't showed you that, had I? Well, this is where I'm really convinced that this is the thing that I want to have. I wish it was available. I'll tell you, as soon as I get a link to somebody that's selling this, or the next generation of it, even if it isn't a totally finished product, I'm going to put it in the show notes so you can go buy it. But I don't have anything at the beginning or end of this video to show you. You're going to have to rely on coming back and checking the show notes, okay? When I touch more, I get all of these different things. And of course, that's settings, and it takes you to the settings page that we already showed you. However, all of these others are the factors that you can activate on here that you see in here. And if I come into heart rate and I activate this thing, the watch is not even doing anything. It's just behaving as normal. But below, you see the diode is on, and it's actually calculating my heart rate. The fun thing is it's continuous, and it's instantaneous. So it's not like the band that takes a dot every few minutes or something like that. It's continuous. And yeah, you can do a workout, have this thing nearby, and monitor in nice big digits on your phone what your heart rate is. We get to here, and you also have blood pressure. Now, this isn't as continuous. This is going to do a circle, and then it's going to give you a blood pressure reading. But you can choose to do normal, which means it's based on 120/80, or personal, which is where I mentioned before, you can put in your calibrated actual blood pressure that you know what it is. If you're hypertensive or something, you can put that in. And then it's going to be computing the results based on that baseline, which should be more accurate. So this does a one-time test, and you can accept it, and it'll put a dot on your graph. But if you go over to here, now we are in blood oxygen. This is the one that's using the red diode. Oh, wait a minute, it's green. What the heck's going on? I'm going to hit go anyway. It's going to calibrate it. The calibration is complete, and now it's doing the blood oxygen. There you go. Switch to the red diode. See that reflecting on there? Okay, so it's giving me a percentage, and just like the heart rate, it's going to be operating continuously and updating regularly. Well, there you go. So are you ready for Jason? I sure am. It's called the Spovan Blade. That's his official name for it, and he has it available on his website, KronosBlade.com. Head on over there and you can read more about it and pick it up. And now, here comes Jason with the grand unboxing of not just the watch, but with the special heart band adapter thing, heart chest thing. You know what I'm talking about. He'll explain it to you. By the way, if you can tell, I'm kind of backing away because the volume's a little lower and I don't want it to be such a shock for you. So I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Here's Jason.
Hi, Mr. Tix. It's me, Jason. Guess what? I got what you wanted. So here it is. Don't even know what you call it, but we're gonna open it up. We know it's the health band that you requested. So here we go. We'll do it real fast. I know I got dressed up for you and all that. That's something else that happened, but the reason why I'm all dressed. But well, let's see what happens. All right, let's gotta get tough in these boxes real fast. Don't want to take too long. And here it is. Oh. All right, here it is. Put the box to the side. Look it open. And there she blows. That's the watch. So we'll see what it is. We'll take it out of here. And it looks like your standard wrist health band watch. Of course, you know all about it. Peel that off. And you already done the review on it, so I'm just showing you. Let's see what's inside. I know you're curious about if the chest piece is in here, and I am too. So we'll see what it comes with. And here it is. Guess what, Mr. Tix? Did you get this in your box? Here it is to stick on your chest. So there they are. It comes two of them, but for the electrodes for the watch. So as you know, this does the ECG. So I got that, and I don't know if you did, but it came in the box, and I guess that's what goes onto the watch itself, and you stick it onto your chest, as we know. So how you do it, I don't quite know. Oh, the watch is on, so look how beautiful it is. I guess I'll take it off since this one's mine. And you know how the review, you've done the review already, Mr. Tix, so you have the watch, so I'm not going to bore you with that. Let's see what else is inside. And we'll open this up. We'll see what's in here. It's probably some screwdrivers. Ah, there it is, Mr. Tix, the chest part. So I guess you put this here. Pretty cool, huh? The watch goes right here. Let me show you that. It goes right here. And the two sticky things, one goes here, and it sticks onto your chest like this. Now, Mr. Tix, what's going to happen is if you're a hairy mother, oh, I shouldn't curse, but if you're a hairy guy, it's going to hurt when you take it off. So I would suggest people to shave or something like that. And you're right, if there was some sort of strap, but I don't see how you could strap this. Here, I'm going to just rotate it, give you a zoom in vision of it. You see the back, and that's the front. Okay, I'm going to take the watch, it's on. I'm going to try to put it on. This is my first time doing it, so, oh look, it moves up too, Mr. Tix. Oh, it's magnetic. Wow, we're discovering this together, Mr. Tix. It's magnetic. Oh, brother, that's so cool. So here we go, I'm going to put the other one on. Snap, snap, you heard that? It's a click, click type thing. Everything snaps in so perfect. It's awesome. Oh, yeah, I know you're salivating, Mr. Tix, but can't have it yet. Anyway, so here it goes. I'm just going to snap one of these on. I'm not going to take the other one off yet. And it snaps on. Of course, the other one snaps over here. So that's it, Mr. Tix. That's how it goes. And you put it on your hairy chest. And hopefully when you take it off, you'll be screaming. Anyway, take care, Mr. Tix. Thanks a lot. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, and you can review this also when you get the actual product, okay? Thanks a lot, Mr. Tix. Take care. Bye-bye.